West Championship. Montana State beat Montana 58-57 to win the Big Sky. South Florida 69-62 over Rice to capture the American. NCAA men's McNeese beat Lamar 63-54 to win the Southland. American over Navy 74-52 to win the Patriot League. On the schedule today, number 1 Duke takes on Georgia Tech. Number 2 Houston looks to get past Colorado. Number 6 St. John's squares off with Butler. One battle with 2 ranked teams today. Number 12 Iowa State battles number 17 BYU. NFL free agency, the Rams have released Cooper Kupp after failing to trade the star wide receiver. Receiver Mike Williams has signed a 1-year deal with the Chargers. QB Mac Jones has signed a 2-year contract with the Niners. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo and save with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
With Progressive, it's easy to reach customer service with our app, website, chat, or by phone. Because when getting help is hard, it's not help at all.
A little help. A little help over here.
Thank you for calling Bench Press Assistance.
What?
Due to excessive gym volume, all available spotters are currently lifting heavy weights off the chests of other bench pressers.
Seriously?
Please continue to hold, and we will remove the barbell from your chest in the order in which your cry for help was received.
Getting assistance should be easy. With Progressive, it is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates.
You've heard of smart bombs,
smartphones, smart cars, smart watches, and smart glasses.
Now you can add smart player.
Giving you sports gaming strategies and information 24/7.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The only place in football where the offense is always on the field is on Moneyline. With the 2 best hosts in radio, Donnie Rightside.
If anybody wasn't watching, let's not know what you were doing.
And Kevin Walsh.
Forget act like you've been there before.
On the SportsGrid Radio Network, SiriusXM Channel 159.
Oh, the best hour every day officially underway. It's a Thursday, and might I say, an absolutely glorious Thursday. We're not talking about the weather outside, people. This might be one of the best basketball days of the year you will find, because as we start our show at 11 a.m. Eastern, Akron and Bowling Green are currently tipping off right now in the MAC in Cleveland, Ohio. So once again, games start at 11 a.m. Games finish up tonight at a start time, Kevin. 3 games at 11:30 tonight, which will get pushed back a little bit because teams are playing in front of them. An absolute banger of a basketball day, which yesterday, Kevin, I went all the way through each and every game, picked 6 games out on the show, handicapped them that I liked them the best, went 4-2, and it was a lot of fun. I think we should do the same thing today. Let the people have some fun in basketball.
Yeah, listen, I know when DRS is excited because if he texts me at 6:30 in the morning, that means DRS is excited.
Yep.
So I ran through the card for the early games as much as I could. So let's see you smirking. Listen, you can't really see me right now. It's all right. I know. Here's the thing, and I'll go hand up. Man. I know that this hoodie being all white does this, but I love it so much. I'm like, I can't really be much of a problem. And every time I forget just like how drastic.
But it's got to be one click of the camera, though. Like the whitening part of the camera, like there's an auto white option. Like, is that on or is that off? Like, it's supposed to offset that for you there.
I'll try it at the break, maybe. I mean,
we're trying to get you in home studios, for the upcoming. This isn't a good look when they screenshot this and send it back to the people out here. Come on.
I think it's me showing them like, listen, the starting point's not great, but imagine where we're going to end up.
Exactly.
But anyway, yeah. So I ran through. I have 4 picks on the board right now from noon to 1.
Yeah,
and I'll keep adding. So yeah, I'm ready to go wherever you want to go.
Like, there's a couple really good games that I was scoping out earlier, but I liked it yesterday where it's almost like it was like a clean slate. And we just went in chronological order, like game number 1, which obviously is Akron. Bowling Green's already underway. We'll just leave that, even though I do think that's a pretty decent game to try to handicap. Should be a blowout. Akron's very good. No big deal. 11:30 a.m., then we'll just go all the way through so many games we can make it through, because a lot of these are going to be good games today. Yesterday, sometimes, Kevin, you're scrolling through like the dregs of the conference are playing, like bad versus bad. Like, I like really good versus really good, or really good versus really bad, if that makes sense. Like, those are the perfect matchups. Bad versus bad, you just get usually bad out of that. But yesterday, just to update the people on what we were digging on, again, you would appreciate this. First game of the day, Virginia team total over 64.5. They scored 60, because of course they scored 60 and they're a bad basketball team. I had Butler minus 1.5. They won that game outright. LaSalle team total under 71.5, a terrible basketball team that shot the lights out in the first half, so I lost that. So it was 1-2 to start the day. But Sacred Heart team total under 66.5 hit easily. USC's team total over Rutgers, 76.5. That hit, went to double overtime. And then Syracuse, maybe the easier one of the day, under 71.5 total points. I think they got like 50 some odd points. They were terrible yesterday, but the matchup certainly preceded that. So, as I say that, Kevin, Duquesne St. Bonaventure. Was that one of your games that you were looking at by any stretch here?
No, listen, I'll be honest with you. I went big game hunting in this early window. So that's, and I'm also not. I actually do have one team total that I'd admittedly imagine will not fit your criteria, but I'll try and sell you something when you get to that game.
Yeah, let me just take a quick look here. Let me just hit pause on this because it is distracting here. Steve Murrin actually is in the chat box today. Aaron's showing. Steve hit me up with St. Bonaventure and Wichita State thoughts today. We're going to go right down the card. The minute we hit that, we'll go over that and have some fun just to let the people know. But for me, Duquesne and St. Bonaventure, I look for the mismatchers right away. St. Bonaventure, not a great defense. In conference play, 15 total teams, Kevin. 9th overall defensive efficiency. 11th at defending the three-point shot. 11th at defending the two-point shot. So I go right there immediately. And the three-point shot will be available for Duquesne today. 14th in conference play to 15 teams. At chasing you off is St. Bonaventure, which, again, isn't a great team here. So if we're looking from an offensive perspective, Duquesne probably has a little bit of that advantage. St. Bonaventure on the other side here, let me see, 13th, 3rd, 1-6. So for me, this game does set up more of a Duquesne angle for me, where I take maybe a team total for Duquesne. I'm not going to bet it, but I know he was asking for chances there with the St. Bonaventure game. To me, I would look at a Duquesne team total to the over, even though both of these teams are extremely slow. Let me see out here. What is that team total, by the way? I'm going to bring this up because it should be fairly easy to look at. 2-point line is -2 at Bet365 for St. Bonaventure. A total real low of 130. Props here on this. Duquesne is 64.5 and St. Bonaventure 65.5. So even split basically both ways. No real lean for me, but probably look more towards Duquesne. I think they might have a slight advantage there from the 3-point line. Indiana, Oregon, Kevin, out there on the Gamebridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. This is a 12 o'clock start time. Ken Pom actually has that as a 2-point game. If I look at the current lines, let's see, Indiana, Oregon, 2.5-point favorite for Oregon, over 141 and under 141.5 for a total at that number. Any thoughts here, Kevin, for you, Indiana and Oregon?
Yeah, I took Jackson Shellstead over 14.5 points. FanDuel has the -104, which is a nice little number there. He was all right against Indiana. They played second to last, meaning he scored 17. But if you know me, more importantly, he was awful in the regular season finale against Washington, despite 39 minutes in an overtime game. 2 of 9 from the field for just 4 points. So clear and obvious bounce back spot. Pretty rarely, kind of throughout Big Ten play, he went consecutive games without 15 points. It has happened, but again, it's rare. And I like the idea that, it's March, right, Donnie? Guard play, guard play, guard play. Yes. I like the idea Shellstad steps up here against Indiana.
There you go. And Indiana on offense, by the way, not all that efficient. Effective field goal percentage in conference play, 17 out of 18 teams. So that's not a great start here. However, they don't rely on the three-point shot at all. 14th out of 18 teams at volume from three-point range, and Oregon defends the three-point line well. The interesting part about this game, however, is the 2-point distribution. Indiana's offense, 53.5% comes from inside the arc. That's good for number 2 in the conference. And 3rd in the conference at letting you score inside the arc is the Oregon defense. So an interesting matchup here from an Indiana side of the ball. But for me, again, Not great look here from both of these teams. Not really all that familiar with either one of these teams, but also at the same time, nothing that I see here. Duke, Georgia Tech, Kevin, noon tip-off in Charlotte. You got any feels on that one?
So this is the one that I imagine you won't line up with, and I think that that's totally understandable. But I did play the Georgia Tech team total over of 59.5.
Okay.
Georgia Tech yesterday offensively was very bad. But thanks to their opponent being Virginia, they were able to advance through in that game. Yeah. If you are Georgia Tech, you are now going up against Duke. Georgia Tech is not a bubble team.
Yeah.
So not only would you need to win this game, but you would then need to keep this thing rolling NC State style all the way into the championship game and win that as well. You have to be willing to bomb threes no matter what you've done this season. Against Virginia, Donnie, they only attempted 9, and they shot 2 of 9 on those. I just think yesterday they went out there. It was a bad offensive game. They barely got any looks up from 3. You're a 20-plus point dog against the best team in the country, and I'm hoping the 3-point variance, Donnie, I'm just hoping I get volume. They might shoot it terribly, but if I can get 25 attempts maybe from this team, I can get through 60 points.
22.5-point favorite for Duke, total 143.5. Duke does have a green light today from the 3-point line. It is 18 teams in the ACC. 14th at letting you shoot the 3-point shot is Georgia Tech. Could we get some points early down in Charlotte? We got a long way to go, and hopefully we can put some of these games down with W's. We'll be back.
We give you expert analysis and information 24 hours a day,
7 days a week.
Any easier and the government would ban us. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
With the SportsGrid News Flash, I'm Trey Westerberg. Tens of billions in aid for victims of Hurricane Helene should start flowing later this month, according to U.S. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins. Congress set a deadline of March 21st to hand out the money when it passed a $100 billion disaster relief package on December 21st. The late September storm cut a swath from Florida's Big Bend across eastern Georgia and upstate South Carolina before causing historic flooding in western North Carolina and eastern Tennessee. A former pastor of a Texas megachurch who resigned after a woman accused him of sexually abusing her in the 1980s has been indicted in Oklahoma on child sexual abuse charges. 63-year-old Robert Morris has been charged with 5 counts of lewd or indecent acts with a child. The alleged abuse started in 1982 when the victim was 12 years old, and Morris was a traveling evangelist staying in Oklahoma with her family, according to the Attorney General's office. The abuse allegedly continued for 4 years. I'm Trey Westerberg with the SportsGrid News Flash.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
With Progressive, renters can save on protection for the things that make your place yours, even things that don't make sense to everyone.
People always wonder why I don't get rid of my guitar since I never play. But it's like, what if I actually end up taking lessons? Sure, I've had it for 8 years, but if I get rid of it, then what will my New Year's resolution be next January?
Exactly. So bundle your renters and auto and save with Progressive and protect the things that make sense to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers not available in all states or situations. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions.
You don't have to listen to SportsGrid. You can always go out in the woods at night, look up, and wish on a shooting star. Or you can get the winning edge right here. And you won't find any ticks on you the next day. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Couple games down. Don't have anything yet on the notepad, but that's probably going to change in the next few minutes. But I just want to hit this one quick topic, which you know me, guys. I cannot turn away from the car crash that is known as the Cincinnati Bengals. And if anybody hasn't been paying attention, and Ben hit it perfectly this morning when we were talking over a break, it's like they negotiate with their players always in bad faith, which is one of the organizations. It's usually supposed to be in good faith, like we want to help you. It's good for the football team. We make money, you make money, we win on the football field. Cincinnati's the opposite. Cincinnati's like, we want to win, but we win on our own terms, and we are never going to give our players the upper hand, and we're always going to strangle them when they try to do something to improve themselves. Case in point, Trey Hendrickson goes, you know what? I need to be paid more. I'm a sack leader in the NFL at a premium position. I know I'm under contract one more year. It's paltry. You know I should get a new contract. I know I should. They go, oh, boy, Myles Garrett just signed that contract. Yeah, we can't afford you. Go out and find your trade partner here. So instead of being in good faith where the Bengals go, let's just see what that market is. Oh, look, the best price point we're going to get for Trey Hendrickson is a third-round draft pick. All right, fair deal. We'll send you to Seattle. Enjoy the rest of your life. Enjoy the future. We weren't going to pay that much. So the fruits of your labor, and we'll see you later. You know what's coming back now? The Cincinnati Bengals basically asking for like 2 1s, and then they're going to throw Trey Hendrickson. Hey, buddy, we tried. See you on the field at like $15 million. Take it or leave it. If you don't want to play, sit it out. We own your rights next year as well. Like, doesn't it feel like they're going to do that here?
The only thing is, like, they gave him permit. You know how we're like they're dying for someone to hold out or to request a trade. Like Hendrickson didn't even do. Again, the Cincinnati Bengals have all these superstars, Donnie, who would love to stay in Cincinnati, but like they just can't figure out how to make it work. So I don't know. I would imagine Hendrickson is dealt just because if you give a player permission to seek a trade under the guidelines of we aren't going to pay you what you're worth.
Yep.
The world where you're then like, well, nobody gave us what we wanted, so your beat is hard to imagine.
Yeah, the way they operate. Like you even see like T. Higgins' mom stepping in the conversation now. Like this is disrespectful. What's going on? And the Bengals are laughing behind closed doors, going like, "We got all these guys. Like you're under a contract, Trey. We let you try to find a deal. It's not our fault that 2 first-rounders weren't coming back to us. So we expect you to play this year and have a good season, and then we'll probably hang like a tag on you next year and do the same thing to you again." People would rather retire, but I just wanted to bring that up because I saw that pop up where the other, like, hey, off the record, the Bengals are being totally ridiculous. We pick up the phone and call them. They tell us 2 1s. Like, hey, how about a second and a fifth? No, 2 1s. See ya. If you don't give it to us, we'll keep them.
This happened with DK, though, a little bit. So I'm not trying to be naive because it is Cincinnati. But, the Seahawks are like, look, we just want a first and the third. And then teams are like, hey, listen, I don't know if you understand what DK's asking for, but it's not going to be a first and a third. They're like, all right, second rounder sounds great. It's like, what just happened here?
Exactly.
So,
2 1s and $30 million a year for Hendrickson, who's like 30 years old. Good luck.
Yeah, I think the Hendrickson, I would just imagine. The funny thing is like, let's just say the Hendrickson stuff works out.
Yeah.
It's the least of their problems. It's not like, I don't understand, man. I don't understand. It shouldn't be this difficult.
No, it's not.
You're an NFL organization. I'm sorry, but like you're an NFL organization. You have everything at your disposal. You don't have to pay the best capologist in human history. You don't have to pay the greatest general manager in human history, but you should be able to have a level of competence within your building that this should not happen nonstop. It is unbelievable that it is nonstop.
It is. It's the way it is here. Let me just play a little. Let me know where this group is from, Kevin. Where are they from?
Queens.
Where are they from? All right. This game played today. Noon tip time. Butler St. John's. The heart of Queens. Jamaica, Queens. I think Kevin's from Jamaica, Queens. I could be wrong, but it feels appropriate that I think he is for this game. They line up against Butler. I had Butler yesterday, Kevin, -1.5. St. John's best defense in conference play, no question about it. They defend the 3-point line. They defend the 2-point line. They do foul a bit. They turn you over. They really get after it on defense. Offense, a little bit suspect, though. So if I'm taking a look at the updated numbers, again, just from Bet365, St. John's is a 12.5-point favorite and a total of 145.5. St. John's does go quick on offense. Butler on defense is a little bit quick, which means they'll give up that quick shot, which is nice to see. But St. John's offense, again, they don't shoot the 3-point shot all that well, but they do really score down low. They're number one, Kevin, in point distribution inside the arc at 61% of their offense, which is incredible. Butler's defense, Kevin, second in conference play, giving up points inside the arc.
Okay.
Tough scene for Butler today. What do you got? Anything? What are you looking at?
I took the 12.5. I understand, obviously, the mismatch there isn't how I'd prefer it to line up, but I will, and this might happen as long as they go on.
Oof.
Very clearly, they are tacking on home court advantage prices here for St. John's.
Sure.
And to my core, no matter what, I will stand against this idea that the Garden is a big home court advantage for St. John's, because otherwise they wouldn't let the tournament be there, because everybody knows that they play there for the pomp and circumstance. But the reality is their home court is in Queens, not Manhattan. Their home court is Carnesecca Arena, not Madison Square Garden. So when St. John's just played Butler a few games ago on the road, laying 5.5 to see a line 7 points higher, that means you are treating and operating as if this is a full home court advantage, and it is one of my strong beliefs of college basketball. It is not that. I don't care.
Yeah, the interesting part here is, like, because I think St. John's makes some sense from a team total, and then you see the 79.5, which means they need 80 to cover that. St. John's last couple ball games, 86, 71, 76, 89, 82, 79. So they're in the realm of that. And they scored 76 against Butler, so they're in there. And what did they do previous? Scored 70 against Butler the previous. It's almost one of those where, again, the same thing. Like, Butler played yesterday, and I call it my slingshot theory. Like, they played and played well yesterday. They're going to expect to play well again. They're not on dead legs yet. And St. John's just gets on that court with their home field. I wish I could take this game for St. John's. I'm going to hold off. More games coming up. We'll get to as many as possible to find some more.
Loser is kind of a mean-spirited slur.
But it doesn't have to stick.
Tell them to listen to SportsGrid and fix it.
No, thank you.
Later. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1966, Bobby Hull scores his 51st goal of the season, setting a new record.
And the crowd goes wild here in Chicago. Bobby Hull has broken the all-time scoring record of 51 goals in a single season, and the crowd are going crazy.
The Golden Jet was selected to the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1983. For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
The University of Copenhagen's new AI machine learning model can understand the emotional state of animals just by listening to them. With 89.4% accuracy, it acoustically distinguishes positive and negative emotions from 7 different species, including cows,
It's a beautiful game.
pigs,
Stop stealing my slop.
and even wild boars.
Have you ever had one of those days?
This breakthrough universal animal emotion translator, a game changer for barnyard quality of life.
You're standing on my foot.
Follow me at G Capalbo on X, and stay tuned to the Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
The early line.
Still find it interesting that the Chiefs are the second favorite. The Chargers got infinitely better this offseason, and I will absolutely be firing on the Chargers to win the AFC West this year. I'll do it again. I will do it again. So write it down. You heard it here first. Save the tape. We can mark it down on March 12th, first day of the league year. Zeno told you the Chargers are winning the AFC West this year. That is the bet to make.
It's the early line with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Winning is no accident.
You've got to be smart about it.
It takes a plan.
All centered around expert analysis and trusted information.
That's what you get.
Right here.
The winning edge. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
How about this one in the Big 12, 12:30 start, Iowa State, BYU. Maybe a marquee game, but also questions here, Kevin. This game tips off in about an hour. You got some injury concerns from Iowa State here. Keyshawn Gilbert and Timon Lipsey. Banged up, questionable games. I never like to hear that. And I was trying to sort of fathom, like, yes, it's a very important game for them. But is it more important for them to play and straggle and maybe get more injured for the tournament next week? Or do they slow play this? And if you can leave it up to the kids, they're going to play because it's a big-time environment. It's fun. I understand that. But it's clouding my handicap on what I can be in this game, if that makes sense. Where if I say, Or I like BYU's offense to make 3-point shots. Iowa State plays defense, but it's a down starter, so how effective is that defense going to be? And particularly Iowa State's offense, who I do think can do some things. It's off the board for me because, Kevin, I just don't know. And if I get 2 damaged goods players on Iowa State, BYU beat Iowa State already when they were a little bit banged up. And why can't they beat them again at this point?
Yeah, it's a tough game, I'll say. Just to your point about the injuries, FanDuel right now is largely propless, if not entirely propless, actually, for this game. So you can tell there's some uncertainty for them. DraftKings has a couple of numbers up, but I think more so on the BYU side. I saw this game, and I wanted to actually bet the under, but I'm struggling a little bit because the number has dropped from their meeting just a couple of days ago. That was a pregame 149.5. You're now seeing 146.5 for this game. I agree with it, just based on my perception of Iowa State's going to have to really ratchet it up defensively for a team in BYU that kind of jumped on them in the first half, and was able to win outright in their building. But I don't know if I want to get in there at the 146.5. This is the one kind of marquee early game that I didn't get involved with. Igor Denham. I don't know if that's how maybe I'm messing the name up, but that's where my brain goes when I see his name, at least. NBA prospect, legitimate. There's a couple of numbers on him that are interesting. If you're a prop player, you're a college basketball prop player, parlay pieces, couple of rebounds, couple of assists. There's some things that you can do, I think, with him in this game today against Iowa State.
Also, take a look at this next game here. South Florida, Wichita State, 12:30 start. That's at Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas. If I look at Wichita State's offense, it's 10th out of 13 teams in efficiency. It's bad. South Florida, even worse at 12th. But sometimes I look at matchups here. I'm looking at the team totals. South Florida's got a 70.5, and Wichita State is 73.5. Wichita State has the worst effective field goal percentage in conference play. Wichita State also is 12th in turnover percentage out of 13 teams on offense, and South Florida's defense, Kevin, is number 2 at turning you over. That's a bad matchup for Wichita. South Florida does foul a lot, but Wichita State doesn't get to the line all that much. But here's where we factor into some things. Wichita State is terrible at shooting the 3-point shot. Like 28% as a team don't shoot that many of them. So normally you'd say, oh, that's good. Where's the inverse advantage? Well, South Florida's number 3 in conference play, Kevin, at defending inside the arc at 47.5%. If you look at Wichita State's offense, they're number 1 in conference play at almost 63% of their total offense coming from inside the arc. But 13th most stingy team out of 15? Is it? No, 13, excuse me. So you have one team terrible in offense that all they do is want to score inside the 2. And South Florida's defense, Kevin, is the best at point distribution at not allowing you to score inside the arc. So for me, I'm going to write down play number 1 at 12:30 today for me. It's Wichita State, and that's under 73.5 points. There we go. Found one right to start.
Okay.
Write that down.
All right.
12:30, so I'm on the board. Any thoughts on that game, or you're just big game hunting at this point?
Just because that's kind of where I wanted to. I knew we would go to those. Plus, you kind of have the ability to do those other games much better than me. So, no, I don't have anything for you. Wichita State, South Florida.
Let's keep ripping. Arkansas and Mississippi. How about this? 1 p.m. start from Nashville. This line, again, let me just keep on sliding back to Bet365 in chronological order. Arkansas is a 4-point dog to Ole Miss today, 144.5. Before I even look at a breakdown, any thoughts on Arkansas and Ole Miss early for you?
My favorite bet from this early window, again, I apologize for those that cannot get props, but Arkansas all of a sudden now is trusting Trevion Brazile in a major way. This is a shorthanded basketball team. Last game out, 38 minutes, gave you 16 and 7. Game before that against Miss State, 11 and 11. How about Vanderbilt? They play 36 minutes, 16 and 14. His points plus rebound number is 15.5. For me, I think we're seeing a spot where the books just can't really catch up. On the year, he averages 6 points and 5 rebounds. They can't make his number 25.5, but I think that's around the area we get from him tonight.
Yeah, looking like this, like Arkansas on offense should struggle a little bit just based on the matchups that they had. Not a great game overall, but one is on the board for me. Wichita State team total under 73.5 coming up at 12:30. More games next.
It's It's easy to get SportsGrid almost anywhere with our mobile app. So give us a break. We're not going to tap your screen for you. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. Busy night around the NBA. In overtime, the Knicks beat the Blazers 114-113. The T-Wolves pounded the Nuggets 115-95. 29 points for Anthony Edwards. Nikola Jokic had 34 in the loss for Denver. The Spurs beat the Mavericks 126-116. The Grizzlies over the Jazz 122-115. The Rockets beat the Suns 111-104. The Clippers over the Heat 119-104. The Raptors beat the Sixers 118-105. Oklahoma City scored a 118-112 win at Boston. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 34 points, 33 in the loss for Jason Tatum. The Hawks beat the Hornets 123-110. Trae Young with 35 points. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Welcome to Staples.
I hear Staples prints it all for any business.
You bet, and we'll beat any print quote.
So if I had a pizza place...
Staples can print signs, menus, pizza boxes.
A landscaping business?
Oh, we can print yard signs, t-shirts, brochures.
How about a pizza/landscaping business? I'll call it Dough and Mo.
I like it.
Right now at Staples, get up to $250 off your print purchase. Ends 4/5, exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for offer details. Price match guarantee valid in store and staples.com/print. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Progressive knows when you're in your RV, you're already on vacation. That's when you become Vacation You, who just camped where there's absolutely no shade. Even though regular you burns easily. In fact, Vacation You burns too, but is too stubborn to admit it, which is why regular you gets in trouble at the dermatologist, because Vacation You doesn't do doctors. So bundle your RV with your home or auto policy and earn an automatic discount from Progressive. And spend the savings on the both of you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
How to tell if you have the winning edge. Take a sheet of paper, crumple into a ball, throw it at a trash can. Even if you miss, so long as you're listening to us, you have it. Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Right back at it, people. Come on, we don't have any time to waste. How about to the MAC, 1:30 p.m., Cleveland, Ohio. That's Ohio and Toledo. Let me just take a look at some of the breaking points in this game. Line, 3-point favorite towards the Bobcats. Total, Kevin, 160 out in the MAC. You love to see that. So when I take a look at Toledo's defense, it is the worst in conference play, just about every single statistical category.
Mm-hmm.
But do we have any efficiency here? I mean, they should pace them, Ohio. And Ohio, the fastest team in conference play, at least average possession length. And then fifth in conference play is Toledo.
Okay.
I'll tell you one thing, though. This game, you know what? 160 does make sense. You look at Toledo's offense. 12th in conference play at shooting the three-point shot, like volume-wise. Number one is Ohio at chasing off the line. So they're like, okay, we don't really care about that. So one is the best, one is the worst. Mix that out. Point distribution, however, 2 points, 56% for Toledo. Number one in conference play and point distribution. Number two in conference play and distribution at allowing you to score inside the arc. It's Ohio. That's a pretty good matchup. And Ohio's offense really should eat. But I'm telling you now, like I do get nervous, Kevin, about the game totals themselves as opposed to team totals, like just an individual matchup. And like 160 should get there, but you're not playing in your own arena gym. Like you're at Rocket Arena, like in a matchup in the middle of the afternoon. Like if there's anything that throws you off, it's getting a game tipping off like when you're not usually used to playing. And again, loser goes home. Like if this was regular season in somebody's gym, 160 I think makes some sense. But I get a little bit leery of totals. At least go total to the over. Like I bet one last night, which was Villanova and Seton Hall. Gave that game out. Came stayed under the 126.5. Like I'm more comfortable with betting unders than overs in conference play and also March Madness.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. We always kind of have that feeling when you get to neutral site, the lack of comfortability that could potentially exist there. It's tough to tell, right? Perhaps that's why we mentioned the Iowa State BYU game. The total's just 3 points lower than when they last met, right? That's kind of what happened there. Dogs walking around. I'm just hoping nothing gets knocked out. Nothing did. All right, fantastic. So now, but what I wanted to ask you, and I don't want to get too far off. I know we're going through all the games.
Yep.
Are you in any capacity circling some of these teams that are advancing or even nearing advancing for, okay, let me keep this in my mind for when it comes to the tournament, like a McNeese who's clinched their spot, something like that?
No, and you know what used to be funny, because I think it helps me now better. I used to be so involved with the lower conferences that I used to, and I don't want to say overestimate's not the right word, because it's always good to have knowledge on those teams, but liking those teams more than you're supposed to when they match up against a Power 5 conference team, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, it's good to know, like, yeah, McNeese State, they might be able to give somebody a run in round number 1. But when you like those teams in those conferences, you should have pedestal them up a little bit higher than they should have, instead of being like, yeah, Kentucky should have run them out of here. I'm like, ooh, I wonder if they can stay inside the 9.5 or something like that. So for me, I don't look at that. It's strictly, once I get to Selection Sunday, it's an even look at both of those teams. Like, I don't circle like, hey, I like these. Because if you're circling McNeese State, like, yeah, hey, man, I picked that first round upset. Well, in the grand scheme of things, if your Final Four gets blown up 3 days later, what is the point of your McNeese? You see what I'm going with this? Like, it's great that you can pick that upset in round number 1, but at the same time, it's like, what are you actually spending all of more time than you need to on the lower level teams when the goal is to have 7 of 8 in the Elite 8, all 4 of your Final Four, and a champion?
Yeah, you have to pick your rocks when you kind of get there, and then work backwards, if anything, right, when it comes to the brackets. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Keep it moving to, what do we got? Davidson and St. Louis, looking at this game as a matchup in the A10. Davidson's offense 7th out of 15 teams in efficiency, St. Louis in 6th. So you're still getting some of that jumbled play. No team shorts more 3-point shots in conference play than St. Louis's offense. 51% of the total shots come from 3-point range, and you can shoot that against Davidson. They'll allow you to do that. They're 8th out of 15 teams, which comes in about 42%. Point distribution-wise, looks decent for them. Davidson's offense, not great either way. If I had to do something in this game, it would be St. Louis as a team total over, but nothing in there that's like, hey, man, I got to really get after those two teams. Alabama State, Texas Southern, we'll skip that game. Here's one. Ready? 2:30 p.m., Kevin, North Carolina and Wake Forest. Saw yesterday, North Carolina needed that win and an impressive win, and they got it. Game number 2, Spectrum Center, North Carolina, Wake Forest. You know what? It's an interesting way I'm going to play this game, but if you have any thoughts, you go first here.
Well, what I want to say for me, as someone who has the North Carolina ACC ticket,
yes,
I know Wake is solid. Maybe I'm off base in this, but I was almost a touch discouraged when I saw this spread. And I don't know, 6.5 might have been enough for that not to be the case. I was like, oof, 5.5's a little light. That's not, next level world of confidence we have in our guys heading into this game. I'm invested in North Carolina. The goal is, of course, get to the Duke game. It would be, disastrous if they didn't even get there. But I have them, Donnie, as my pick to win the ACC because of the value, obviously, the 30-1 shot.
Let me just scroll down here as a second, too, because I just want to get another look at these team totals in this game. That game starts at 2:30 p.m. Team total for North Carolina, 76.5. Wake Forest is 70.5. Let me just see what I have here on FanDuel. So we'll go wagers. I'm going to slide down quite a bit to get these team totals on FanDuel. All right, so there we go. Wake Forest team total, they are at 71.5. And then North Carolina is at 76.5 as well, minus 106. A little more expensive on the Bet365. But here's the way I look at this game. I think North Carolina wins. I think they're more talented, obviously. But at the same time, they're favored 6 points here. Total, what is the total in this game?
Where is it?
What was it?
47.5.
Okay, 147.5, yes. UNC's offense, Kevin, doesn't rely on the 3-point shot. 14th out of 18 teams in conference play. Wake Forest, number 1 in defense at about 31% from 3-point range. But, Kevin, 18th at letting you shoot it. That means no team defends less and says, we'll give you the 3-point shot than Wake Forest, which is interesting, which, again, North Carolina can make it, 6th in conference play at 37%, but they don't want to do that. But also down low, Carolina, 6th in conference play in point distribution inside the arc, 17th stingiest out of 18 teams inside the arc is Wake Forest. So my thought process is this. Yes, North Carolina played yesterday. If their 3 ball is not going down in elite numbers, and again, I told you, Wake Forest is number 1 at defense at the 3-point line at 30%. I'm going to go North Carolina's under, Kevin, 76.5 points in this game. How about that? Bucking a little bit of that public favorite. Not to say they can't win. I just don't know if they get to, let's just say, 80 in this game in game number 2 here. That's 2:30 p.m. I got 2 of them on the board. So your play again in this game, You're looking at North Carolina
Well,
win?
I'm just rooting North Carolina. And no, I think your breakdown though kind of confirms my like the 5.5. I don't know if we would say that's a Wake Forest line, but it's certainly not a North Carolina line, right? It's not 8. It's not, okay, this team's rolling. So that, and then this is just a side note. I won't get lost in this, but I can't stand Hubert Davis. I can't believe any 5-star kid ever steps foot on that campus again with him as the head coach. Ian Jackson completely being wasted.
Like that's the one school, Kevin, where you can be dead as a doornail as a head coach, have no absolute ability to talk to players and just say, we wear the baby blue. You play in the Dean Dome. It's North Carolina. Michael Jordan went here, and you will get the freshest Nike Jordans first before any single person, professional athlete, or player in the country. Jordan gives them anything they want at any time they want. Like you should get every single 5-star player in the country. First pick always to me should be North Carolina. I don't know how it's possible. It's not, to be honest.
No, it's a great, but again, like part of it is even the ones that they get. Hubert Davis, Donnie, since he's taken over, has had one player drafted, and it was last year at the 48th overall slot. Like that shouldn't be possible. That should be impossible to happen at North Carolina.
Not a good look for Elliot Cadeau getting drafted.
No, not real. Not a good look. That Caleb Love and RJ Davis are just still in year 19 of college hoops.
Yes, correct. I wonder if RJ Davis can come back next year again. Some walk off the court against Duke is like, the joke was like 16-year veteran, finally hangs it up at North Carolina is what it felt like at that point. We got more to go, which includes Marquette and Xavier in the Garden for a 2:30 start. Right after the break, we'll hit that game next and try to get as many as we can down the board.
You're listening to one of the last places on earth where a man can be a man and not get those looks. Welcome aboard, good sir. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. Big 12 men's hoops on Wednesday, second round action. Number 12, Iowa State beat Cincinnati 76-56. Colorado beat West Virginia 67-60. Baylor knocked off Kansas State 70-56. In overtime, the Kansas Jayhawks beat UCF 98-94. Quarterfinals today, it's Iowa State against BYU. Colorado battles Houston. Texas Tech against Baylor. Kansas versus Arizona. Big East Wednesday, Butler beat Providence 75-69. DePaul over Georgetown 71-67. Villanova beat Seton Hall 67-55. Today, quarterfinals, Butler battles St. John's. Marquette against Xavier. DePaul battles Creighton. UConn squares off with Villanova. Connecticut is the defending national champion. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo and save with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
The best day for great deals on everything for spring is one day, as in the Macy's One Day Sale. Find the best prices of the month on spring essentials, from handbags starting at $49.99 to sheets starting at just $9.99. From 40 to 50% off new looks for the family to 40 to 50% off mattresses from Serta and more. And you can earn rewards even faster during Star Money bonus days. It's a day that's unlike any other day. The Macy's One Day Sale tomorrow. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
When it comes to odds on daily sporting events, it's complicated when you factor in everything from current wind speed to how hot a player's girlfriend is. But you don't have to mess with that. Just keep it here and listen. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Marquette, Xavier, Madison Square Garden, 2:30 tip time today. Good basketball game here. Let me get the updated numbers for the people. -2.5 is a favorite for Marquette. A total of 145.5. When I break this game down and look down, I don't really have too many excellent advantages either way, so it's a pass for me. Marquette's always one of those teams I really want to take. Why? Because they love to shoot the three-point shot and they get enamored by that right away. But I don't have a clear look in this game, and by the line, 2.5. It looks like a toss-up. Any thoughts between number 25 Marquette taking on Xavier in the Garden today?
I think it's a really important game because I think either team can beat St. John's. I was very tempted, and I was hoping actually that I would be betting Marquette to win the Big East tournament. I ended up with Villanova, in part because of the quality of basketball Xavier's been playing. And I didn't want to bet Marquette just to get bounced out in game number 1 against Xavier. I lean towards Marquette. I don't love it necessarily, where I'm running and sprinting to the window, but if Marquette can get through this, I'll be interested in, I may reinvest in the Big East tournament, Donnie.
Yeah.
If at the end of the night, Marquette is still there and I've lost my Villanova bet with them playing late UConn tonight.
Yeah. Nice little win yesterday for Nova Nation as they go. Skipped over the Charlotte Florida Atlantic game. Just did a quick preview. I know Kevin Proud doesn't care much about that game. I don't have a great feel for that. Northwestern Wisconsin, though, is an interesting one. Tip time 2:30 p.m. 8.5-point favorite for Wisconsin over Northwestern and a total of 140.5. You might see that number as being a little bit high, but understand this, though. Wisconsin, very good. This is not your, as I like to say, Kevin, you're like your grandfather's Wisconsin team. It's like, slow it down, play just a pace ahead of Virginia, and make your shots. They do make shots, and they're a little bit quicker in tempo-wise because they're about, let's just say, average length of possession midway in the Big Ten. They don't turn the basketball over, which Northwestern likes to live on you turning it over. That's an advantage for them. Number 1 in conference play at volume from three-point range, that's Wisconsin. 13th out of, 18 teams at chasing you off the line. That is Northwestern's defense, and they don't defend it all that well. Advantage is there. Northwestern fouls a lot. Wisconsin doesn't get to the line a ton, but when they do, Kevin, 81% as a team. You're figuring that you get those extra points here. Northwestern's offense is bad. Northwestern's offense does not get to the free throw line. Wisconsin, number 1 in conference play, Kevin, at not fouling. So you're not stealing any points from the free throw line. 3-point shooting, 13th in conference play at volume out of 18 teams, not great. Inside the arc, 7th in point distribution, and then Wisconsin is 13th, stingiest team out of 18 teams. I actually think Wisconsin's going to handle their business and should win this game by double digits. I don't like to take sides all that much. I'm going to go Wisconsin, minus 8.5, and put that on the board. How about that?
All right. Listen, I'll say for me, I have a UCLA ticket in the Big Ten. So if they aren't going to cover the 8.5, let's hope it's because they lost outright and not a win by 1 to 8 points there. Yeah. I don't love how Wisconsin's playing entering the tournament, but again, they shouldn't have an issue with Northwestern. Northwestern is hung with good teams, but Wisconsin, off the loss to Penn State, should be bouncing back here, Donnie, for their first Big Ten game.
Yeah, and also I love the fact that at the end of the game, and it doesn't always work out in your favor. Let's just say it's a 6-point game. Other teams like, look, we're going to run this all the way up to 10 unless we can make some late 3-point shots. You foul, splash, 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 splash. There you go. You got the cover because your guys are really good at making free throw shots. Colorado and Houston, Kevin, in the Big 12. Maybe a blowout, 17.5-point line. Total of 1. That's rare. 17.5 with a total of 126. That tells you how good Houston's defense is. Two teams that don't play all that fast. Houston's defense, let me see here. 14th in conference play at letting you shoot the 3-point shot, but will defend it. But the problem, Kevin, is Colorado's terrible from the 3-point line, 29% as a team. And 16 teams in conference play, 16th in point distribution on defense of giving up points inside the arc. Points are going to be at an absolute premium for Colorado in this game. Houston on offense really should be able to do whatever they want. But what is that Colorado team total then? Let me see here. 54.5.
Yeah.
Now, normally I'd say, yes, let me take that under and it stops here. But that's one of those numbers where it's like, hey, you got 21 at the break. Perfect. Right on target. It's like, oof. Yeah, it's too low for me to take. But my goodness. I don't know. Put it this way. I wouldn't be taking the over 54.5 for Colorado's offense.
It's no. I don't, honestly, I don't hate to say it, but
yeah,
you probably should just lay the 17.5 with Houston.
How about a first half? Bouncing by 10.
You know what? They sometimes, Donnie, I feel like people get cute with the first half stuff.
Yeah,
not with Houston. They don't. They're very rarely up 3 and then win by 23. They're usually up by 23 and win by 29, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that might be the direction. What is the first half Colorado team total then? 25 and a half?
24.5, Kevin. 24.5 points, which is one of those where it's so low you think you should always be in it until it's 17-4 at the 9-minute mark. You're like,
yeah, that's what I'm. So what is that first half spread? 10.5? What are they making you lay?
Let's see here. Team
Can you get under double digits?
Yeah, let's see. So we'll go popular. Where's the first half? Half props. There we go. Half is there's the team total spread is 10.5 in the first half, and a total of 59.5 is that number. The Colorado's decent, like in their performance so far in the Big 12. But then you run in like Houston. It's like, man, that was fun the couple days before. Now it's not.
You have to get these games away from me though, because I just said everything I said, and I'm going to end up betting that first half over.
Yep.
Like, come on, these teams can't get to 60.
59.5. It's like, yeah, it's like again, it's like 30-20 with 3 minutes to go, and it's like, yeah, we got to legit look at this and be like, they only scored 20 points so far. You know what I mean? It's almost like a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
24
yeah,
and
that's true.
it's almost like legitimately, we know how good Houston is, but 24.5. Because we've seen these games go, Kevin. It's like, wait a second. That's 11-5 Colorado at the first time out. I only got to get 13 more points. And it's like, wait a second. Now they only have 21 with 2 minutes to go. What happened over the past 12.5 minutes? That's such a tough one because Houston is coming out with those talons sharpened right away at this point. San Jose State, New Mexico. I know a lot of people like that New Mexico team out there in the West at the Thomas and Mack. Looking at some of the props here, New Mexico's offense doesn't shoot the three. The other team defends it. Ooh, but you know what? All right, I hear the music playing in the background. I'll bring this one up on the other side here because a number one versus a number one always intrigues me. We'll be right back. Yeah.
This is the place. This is where you'll get expert perspectives and sports gaming strategies 24/7. And it's free. Beat that, you cheap. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Imagine combining the exciting investment opportunity of cryptocurrencies with the power of artificial intelligence to maximize your IRA, 401k, or other investment funds. Listen, if you're looking for ways to accelerate your retirement growth, Block Trust IRA has market-leading strategies and solutions for all levels of investors, from $1,000 to millions. And they partner with Bitcoin Magazine's #1 crypto trading fund in the world to maximize your returns. Plus, their team of IRA specialists is here to help you roll over your IRA or qualified retirement account to the new world of cryptocurrency investments. So make this free call right now to set up your account and learn more.
800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. That's 800-434-5313.
Football full circle.
But I'll ask Washington Commander fans, would you give up 5 number ones for Jaden Daniels? You know what? Knowing what I know now, probably. Would you give up 5 number ones, for the Houston Texans, C.J. Stroud? You know what? I wouldn't like it, but yeah, I got my quarterback of the future. Whatever it takes.
It's Football Full Circle with Ben Stevens and Scott Wetzel. Weekdays, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. Think of us as your cool roommate that has this innate gift of somehow always picking winners and never bugs you about doing the dishes or paying rent. Sports gaming strategies and information 24/7. Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Right back at it. By the way, real quick side piece. I get a kick out of Deion Sanders and Shiloh Sanders every time they come up on my little reels here, where Shiloh's sitting there while Deion is sitting on a bench eating a Uncrustable. And then I'm like, you said you ran a 4.2. Ain't nobody got tape on that. And it just started a conversation that just had me rolling, laughing, because that's what I would think I would do to my dad if he was my coach at that point. And he's like, we saw Muhammad Ali fight. on tape. We got it. Like we've seen, Martin Luther King on tape. We got that. We never seen you run a 4.240. We don't need to see that. People were there. They saw it. Those two, man. Like I hope. I don't think he's an NFL player, but I just wish he was. And like Dion was a coach and said, "I'm coming there. I'm going to have my son as a quarterback, and Charlotte's going to be at least a special teamer." I love their camaraderie, man. I'm going to miss that at Colorado. I am.
Yeah, I actually think that is going to be really interesting to see them all apart from one another, right? Like, it's not as if Dion's coached at the level without Shedeur. Now he's obviously done very well in the portal, and it's not expected to be like a lost program or anything like that. But again, he's not been out there without Shedeur Sanders. And obviously Shedeur hasn't played, I'm sure he played some levels without Pops, but I don't know. High school would be the last time, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it's good stuff, though. I do enjoy that here. By the way, I was talking New Mexico and San Jose State, Kevin. It's a heavy favorite in this game for New Mexico. Obviously, the better team than San Jose State. Minus 15.5 and a total of 150.5. But I get intrigued by these, where it's like, okay, New Mexico should run them out. Like, number one defense in conference play. Matchup is pretty good on that side. And then the offense, where they don't really care about the three-point shot. They're 11th in volume from three-point range, but their point distribution is number one inside the arc. Going up against a team in San Jose State, Kevin, number one at giving up points inside the arc. But, again, regular season, heavy dose lines like that, I'm like, hey, they'll string them up by 30 if they wanted to. But sometimes we're just in that neutral site. It does make me nervous a bit. I would like to write that game down, but I'm going to stay away from it, even from a team total range, because team totals that I get excited with are typically, Kevin, right? 5, 6, 7, 8 point games where fouling. When I get a line that sits there at 15.5, I can't expect the 11-point final minute and a half in that game.
No.
Because if it's 15, that's a run out for 3 minutes, which means you better get that. And granted, a lot of team totals you get cover well before the 3-minute mark. But if you need that extra shot or even overtime, you don't get it. So I get nervous. And it's 83.5. There's a chance that New Mexico Kevin got a 50 at the break. But I don't know if I could bet that. I just don't know.
Yeah, I want to throw at you the big game, though, and everyone's talking about it. Iona, Manhattan. I mean, come on, crunch these numbers. What do they say to you?
What time is it?
6 o'clock, I want to say, or 7:30. It's one of those two. I could.
Iona versus who? Who are they playing?
I think they're playing Manhattan.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Let's see what we got here. Boardwalk Hall, no stranger to being there. Iona, bad offense. They do rebound very well on the offensive side, which is decent. They don't care about the three-point shot. Manhattan's like, you know what? You could shoot it. Not bad. They do have a decent point distribution from down low, but Manhattan's offense is the best in conference play.
No.
Iona defends the three, which is going to help them, but they'll let you shoot the three, which is a little bit dangerous. Yeah, I got to say Manhattan's going to beat Iona today.
No.
No. Just looks like it. Now, did we watch Iona Manhattan battle? Because I know we watched Manhattan play and Iona play. Who did Iona play when we went to see him down at the boardwalk?
I don't think it was Manhattan.
No, I don't think it was either. I think Manhattan was the second game. Because Manhattan was playing. Their cheerleaders were like, whatever their crew was like right in front of us. So they were playing in one of those games. I remember that. But I can't remember who Iona. Because I know.
Niagara?
You know what? It was Niagara. You are absolutely correct. It was Niagara. Because I remember Niagara fans there at that point with one of their players. The other game I want to say, was it maybe Marist? Was it Marist?
That sounds right.
Yeah, maybe Marist Iona. Yeah, because we were getting a kick. I think it was Marist. Red Foxes or is that Fairfield? Who's the Red Foxes?
No, I think it's Marist Red Foxes. I think so.
Yeah.
I think Fairfield's the Stags.
Yeah.
I get the updates to my phone for both men and women team for Iona.
Yep.
The other day it came up, Iona won 42-40. 44. And then I realized it was the women's game. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
42-40. Goodness me.
Yeah.
What was that total?
I mean, by the way, the fact that the Metro Atlantic and Atlantic City can't gamble in any of the games, like I continue to say, like, you would get an extra couple hundred people in that building just being in Atlantic City going like, hey, the games are here. Let's walk down the boardwalk. We'll bet it. We'll watch it. We'll have some beers and we'll do something else. The fact you can't bet those games in Atlantic City, and the fact that I look at half of these games where I'm playing at like USC game, I gave that out to the people yesterday. I couldn't bet it in New Jersey.
Yeah,
come on, man. Enough with this stuff. Thanks for tuning in tomorrow. Another Friday edition of Moneyline. JP Bonnie, Wheels, and Still Bonnie Red Side, Kevin. See ya.
It's easy to get SportsGrid almost anywhere with our mobile app. So give us a break. We're not going to tap your